Okay, guys. Since it's Monday and IGN just released a new batch of superstars for WWE2K16, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the full confirmed roster for WWE2K16 right now. Now, I'm very aware that with the 19 announced today, we go up to, I believe it is 39 or 40. I believe, around there somewhere. Because last week we had 19, and this week we got another 19, which is 38. So, but I'm also counting both our pre-orders in this, which is where we get to 40. So, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, and I'm going to do it every Monday as these new people are revealed. So, let's start with, basically this is my thoughts as my confirmation list of 2K16 grows, in a way. So, let's start with one of the new ones confirmed today, Adam Rose. Not surprising, Adam Rose is of course DLC in 2K15, and DLC traditionally gets in the next game as non-DLC. That's the way a lot of stuff works. I guess you could consider him roster filler though, as he's not really a relevant part of WTV much anymore. But he is here, and that's all well and good. So then we have Bad News Barrett, or King Barrett. Now, I don't know if he'll be King Barrett in 2K16 or if he'll just be Bad News Barrett. I really don't know that. But it's Bad News Barrett / King Barrett. I put this in alphabetical order. He was one of the first 6 we found out about. That for some reason, 2K still does not have all of them on their website. Yeah, those first 6 people, not all of them are on 2K's website, because last I checked, they did not have Dean Ambrose on their website. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but as far as Bad News Barrett being in the game, I'm not surprised by it. He's been in every game essentially since since Final vs. Raw 2011, when he was DLC. Again, though, he falls into a thing where he hasn't really been in a relevant storyline. Yes, he's going to be at SummerSlam this Sunday teaming with Stardust, but the only reason that really matters is that whole thing, this tag match with Neville and Stephen Amell versus Stardust and King Barrett, is more about Stardust and Stephen Amell anyway. So I just don't know why you didn't do a single match between Stardust and Stephen Amell, but that's for the SummerSlam predictions that I'll do later in the week. I'm fine with Bad News Barrett being in the game, so it's not a surprise here. 3. Next we have Bo Dallas. So we're going to be Bo-Leave-ing again, aren't we? I wonder if he's going to Bo-Leave that most people are just going to beat the tar out of him in this game. I mean, I'm sure he's got his fans, but the people I know that play this game are just going to be using him as their Bo-Leaving punching bag. And again, he's really not relevant much in the way of WWE anymore. But again, I expect him to be in the game, so no real surprise. So then we get one of our legends, Booker T, the five-time WCW champion and a current trainer on Tough Enough. So at least he's somewhat relevant to something in the WWE. Even if it's basically a show that doesn't need to be around ever, and basically whoever wins this show ain't going to be the one that anyone should, you know. I will say, at least with Tough Enough, as long as ZZ doesn't win, I think that it's much of an easier thing. And I would actually go with not having the fans vote on the winner of this, but I'm not the WWE when it comes to Tough Enough. But Booker T's fine. I'm sure he probably fits into the Stone Cold Showcase somewhere, because I am imagining they're going to find some way to do a modified version of Survivor Series 2001 in that, or something involving the invasion angle which Booker T fits into. Maybe not against Austin, but maybe his match with The Rock at SummerSlam 2001 in a way. I'm guessing that that's for that, but no real problems there. So then we get Brie Bella. Did anyone think the Bellas were not going to be in here? One's married to Daniel Bryan, the other's dating John Cena. So, they are the quintessential divas in the WWE. Brie doesn't surprise me at all. I wonder, she'll probably have her Brie mode music and all that, and I guess they'll give her some Daniel Bryan moves now. So then we have Brock Lesnar. No surprise here, Lesnar was WWE Champion for most of the time they were deciding the roster, even if he was only appearing very little, minimum amount of time. And he's going to be main eventing SummerSlam this year against The Undertaker. No real surprise, like I said, expected Brock. So then we have someone who came out of left field when I saw it last week, Colonel Mustafa, who, yes, was DLC last year, and like I said with Adam Rose, DLC tends to get into these games in the next year. But honestly here, Colonel Mustafa is kind of roster filler when it comes to really being here. Because I doubt he's going to be at all featured in the Stone Cold Showcase. So I guess he's a regular legend. Now, as far as how he would be unlocked, if he would be an already unlocked legend like Warrior was last year, I'm going to go with that. It's good to see the Iron Sheik back in a WWE game, but can't he just be in as the Iron Sheik and not his stupid rename gimmick of Colonel Mustafa? Like, I don't know why the WWE ever renamed him in '91. It's good, like I said, it's good to see him back in games. He's just a really random inclusion. Then we have Daniel Bryan, who was one of the first 6 that we knew about. I'm not surprised about that. Hey, at least on the games, he's not going to be injured 3 months after coming back. I hate making that joke in a way, but it's true. It's sad. Daniel Bryan, sadly, is becoming far too of an injury risk for the WWE, and would probably be much more better off than him as a commentator or something that's not in the ring, because if he comes back, he's probably bound to sadly get re-injured again. It's just the way of life, and I like Daniel Bryan, so I don't mean that as a bash. I mean that as being practical here. So then we get Dean Ambrose is next. Figured that, but like I said, he is actually not on the 2K website last I checked. Yeah, 2K does not have him on their website for the roster page, and I don't know why. So then there's Emma, who was DLC last year, obviously, and this year is not DLC. I know she's in a female tag team down in NXT with Dana Brooke, but I'll be perfectly honest about NXT. I haven't watched it in a while, and it has nothing to do with the talent down there. It's just, I would prefer NXT to have far more storylines and a lot of stuff, because a lot of storylines they do, minus the stuff they did with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, a lot of the storylines they do, that NXT does, are really just about figuring out #1 contenders and stuff. But I like the talent in NXT. I think there's a lot of great talent in NXT. As the 3 divas who recently came up are showing you. But not bad to see him in the game. Hopefully we'll have a very big diva roster in this game. So then we get Eva Marie. I'd love to know why Eva Marie is here. Eva Marie is, yes, she's relevant because of Total Divas, but she's roster filler in the extent of that. She hasn't been in an actual featured WWE match, I believe, that was at all memorable since like Survivor Series 2012 when she was on Team Total Divas. I don't really know why Eva Marie is here, and on top of that, her moveset will be the most basic thing ever, because unless they base it on anything she's been doing now, she's going to have not too many actual moves at her disposal. So, yeah. Next we have the current NXT champion, Finn Balor, who I actually have seen and do actually like on NXT. And he's also been doing motion capture work for the game from what I know. He's a good inclusion for the game. He's the first NXT guy we knew about. So, and he's current NXT champion, so no real look forward to that, actually. So then we get General Adnan. Again, DLC in the last game, but he's even more useless than Mustafa is, because Adnan only wrestled a couple matches in WWE. One was against Hogan on, I believe, was a Saturday Night's Main Event, and the second one was that whole 3-on-2 handicap match SummerSlam 91, which 10-1 ain't even going to be in this game, so Adnan's filler too. So is Mustafa, but at least it's interesting. By the way, in case you don't, I wonder if him and Mustafa are going to share the same moveset, because they pretty much do in 2K15. They pretty much did share the same moveset. Minus, Adnan did not have the camel clutch that Mustafa had. That was the only real difference that I saw in their movesets. And their entrance movie, other than that. So, Goldust, no surprise. Heath Slater. I'll say this, while he hasn't been relevant this year, he at least was somewhat relevant for EMB. But again, to me, he's roster fillers. He's here just to fill out this 120 unique superstar roster. Because he hasn't really done anything of note at all for basically over a year, ever since McIntyre and Mahal were fired. Then we have Hideo Itami, who I've only seen in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, because as I said, I don't watch NXT much. But I liked what I saw of him, and I know his Japanese background. Good to see him in the game. Looks like we're going to have a very robust NXT roster in this game. Okay. So then we have Jack Swagger, who, yeah, I kind of thought would be in the game, even though he's irrelevant too. John Cena, no-brainer about that. And what's ironic is Cena's been in screenshots, but he's never been on the actual list that IGN's released. Yeah, because remember, all these other guys were listed in an article. Cena never was. Cena's never been listed in those articles, just a screenshot. I guess that's enough for IGN, so, yeah, John Cena. Not a surprise, everyone knew he was going to be in there. So then we have Kalisto of Lucha Dragons making his WWE video game debut, as is Hideo Itami, and Finn Balor, and Eva Marie. The Lucha Dragons are a fun team, I'll say that much. Kalisto, I don't know what he'll be able to do on his own, but with Seeing Cara, he could probably do some innovative stuff there. And he's an okay inclusion. And due to the fact that he counts as an NXT superstar to me, because he and Sin Cara were on NXT for the most part of while the roster was being finalized. Although Sin Cara also was on the main roster a little bit. So then we have Corporate Kane. This isn't a surprise. Kane was going to be in the game, and I figured he'd be corporate, because the only reason he has a mask on in 2K15 was for a little bit of the summer last year, he was wearing the mask. So, yeah. No surprise that he's Corporate Kane now in 2K16. Then there's Kevin Owens, who really should be the U.S. champion right now. But, sadly, he's not, and that's WWE booking fault. Don't get me wrong, I think him and Cesaro are going to have a very good match at SummerSlam, but the fact is, SummerSlam should be where Kevin Owens wins the U.S. title from Cena, and that's not going to happen now. So, Kevin Owens might sadly fall into what every other person who's ever done anything with Cena falls into due to WWE Creative. And that's not Cena nor Kevin Owens' fault, it's the WWE Creative's fault. You know? This should be where Kevin Owens wins the U.S. title, and it's not going to happen. Excited to see him in the game. I don't know how they're going to do the pop-up powerbomb, though, because it's already a catch finisher, but he whips him into the ropes first. So, it's really just going to be, I guess, like that. I don't know how they're going to animate the pop-up powerbomb, personally. So then we have Lord Steven Regal, who was, again, in the last game. In fact, he was in all versions. He was DLC for all versions, and William Regal was exclusive to the PS3, PS4, and Xbox One versions. While PS3 and 360 just got Lord Steven Regal, we didn't have My Career Mode, which does bring something up. How's the PS3 and 3... And by the way, this is not the start of console war, what I'm mentioning. So, no, I'm not starting a console war. I have no problem with the PS4 or Xbox One. I just don't want them right now. There's nothing on the PS4 I want other than 3 games, and only one of them's out, and it wouldn't even keep me playing for 2 years anyway. And that's Arkham Knight. The other 2 games I want are the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3, both which don't even have release dates. So that's really the only reason I don't have a PS4. So, that's the only reason I don't have a PS4. There's nothing I really want on it, and I can't even play my PS3 games on it, and I don't want to get rid of them. And before you ask, I cannot trade my PS3, and before you give me the advice of that, I can't trade in my PS3 and some of my games to get a PS4, because I'd only get $60 out of my PS3. I already asked at my local GameStop, so I can only get $60 out of my PS3. Anyway, I'm just wondering how the PS3 and 360 users, which I am in that, I'm guessing they're going to have the Who Got NXT mode back or NXT Showcase, because how else are you going to unlock all these NXT talents that way for that version of the game? Not to start a console war, so please don't ever say I'm being anti-PS4 and Xbox One. I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm just saying... myself personally here. Then there's Neville, who was in the last game, so this really isn't a surprise. Like I said with Brie, there's Nikki Bella. Of course, she was going to be in the game. Sad that she's only holding the woman's title this long, because, let's be honest, they want to erase AJ Lee's title reign from history because she's married to CM Punk. Yes, it's petty and all that. So, they gave the Divas title to Nikki Bella to make sure she surpasses 295 days. Which is what I believe AJ's reign is, 295. At least her first reign. If you were to add them together, it's over 300 days. In fact, I think it's close to 330 if you add all 3 of her reigns together. There's Paige, who was the Season Pass exclusive character last year, and that brings something else up. The Season Pass was very clear last year about what you got. It said Season Pass, it said Showcase DLC only and Paige. It did not say anything else about anything else. It was clearly in the description. Now, sure, THQ did it one way, but 2K did it another way. Because remember, 2K14, while they did that for 2K14, the Season Pass covered everything. Last year they only did it with the 2K Showcase stuff, and I imagine what they'll do this year. But it was clear last year, so they weren't hiding it. It was clear what you were getting. It was in the description of what you bought. And it's not like the other DLC was that expensive. All of them was less than $10. So, but it's good to see Paige properly in the game to where everyone will have access to her, because not everyone got her last year. So then we have Ric Flair. Ric Flair, I'm not surprised about. You have Charlotte's on the main roster now. And I'm guessing he'll somehow fit into the Stone Cold Showcase in a way, too, because Stone Cold did have a small feud with him going into in 2002, right before he left. So then there's Roman Reigns, who no one should be surprised about. In fact, I'm surprised Roman Reigns isn't on the cover of this game, to be honest. And again, I like Roman Reigns, to be honest, but I think he needs to turn heel at SummerSlam. I think he needs to be the one to turn on Ambrose. If it's the other way around, I think it totally is wrong. I think if they are going to have someone do that, and again, I'll bring this up in SummerSlam predictions, if they're going to have one of those two guys turn on the other and turn heel, it's got to be Reigns. I think Reigns benefits more from a heel turn than Ambrose does. We have Sami Zayn. former NXT champion who was in the last game, so this isn't a surprise. We have the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion, at least till SummerSlam, but I'm pretty sure Cena's winning at SummerSlam. Or at least winning the match. Now if they haven't won the title, it's a different story, but he's definitely winning the match. Seth Rollins, who's probably going to have a pedigree, and I guess they're going to completely get the curb stomp out of the game. I guess you won't even be able to have it for a CAW at all. I'm guessing. I mean, they might keep it in the game, but I have a feeling it's going to get the hiatus from this game. It's going to get axed from this game, just like it's been erased from WWE history. So then we have Sin Cara, the second Sin Cara, or Unico. The other half of the Lucha Dragons. Not a surprise here. To me, though, counts as an NXT guy in a way, just as I said, him and Clisto were on NXT for most of when the roster had been finalized. I'm fine with him, though. Then we have Stardust, who I really wish would go back to being Cody Rhodes, because he's done everything he can do with that Stardust character now. Let him go back to being Cody Rhodes. He's done everything he can do with the Stardust gimmick. In my opinion, anyway. And people, yes, okay, people say we should have got him last year. And I see that argument, but the fact is, he changed into Stardust after the cutoff last year. These games are traditionally, the cutoff date for rosters is right either WrestleMania or no later than April of that year. Cody didn't become Stardust, I believe, till around Money in the Bank last year. So that's why Stardust obviously wasn't in the game. So it is a WWE video game debut of Stardust, even though the guy who's playing Stardust has been in several games. In fact, he's been in every game since SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. At least that's been a main series game or a yearly release game. So then we have Stone Cold Steve Austin, the guy who's the cover athlete and is the only known person in the 2K Showcase mode right now. I'm sure we'll have another one or two. I'm just curious how far back they're gonna go into Steve Austin's here, because they can go a very ways far back if they want to, even include some of his WCW stuff and really open up the roster more. Now, I will say that King of the Ring 96 and SummerSlam 97 do or should be represented here. But SummerSlam 97 would require Owen Hart being in this game, and that may or may not happen. We'll have to wait and see. If it does happen, then I guess Owen Hart would be the massive, big surprise of this game if it happens. But that would require Martha Hart letting 2K put him in as a deal of 2K and not the WWE, but she'll still probably be against it. So then we have Sting in his current modern WrestleMania 31 attire. It's good to see Sting back. I had a lot of fun playing as Sting in 2K15, so it won't be it'll be the same way here. Sting was a good nostalgia trip last year, and I really enjoyed him last year. So it's nice that everyone will have him, because everyone got him probably last year, but this time you don't have to pre-order the game to get him. He comes already packaged on a disc. Summer Rae, or as I dubbed her now, Some Lana, because that's really what she is. She's Summer Rae dressed up as Lana, so she's Some Lana. That's not a surprise either. There's Tamina, so hopefully that shows that the other two members of Team Bat will be in this game. But who really knows, because we've only had 5 divas announced. Tamina, the Bellas, Summer Rae, and Paige. So then there's both Terminators, Terminator 1 and 2. I don't know how you're going to rank them as characters, and I really don't care about this pre-order bonus. I'm going to get the pre-order bonus just because it's content, and I do applaud that the WWE did something different with the pre-order bonus here. But why don't you just have it be Arnold Schwarzenegger? This is the problem. It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's his most famous character, the Terminator. If you would have just made Arnold Schwarzenegger the pre-order bonus, I wouldn't have a problem, because at least he's a real person. The Terminator, yes, he's a fictional character, but he doesn't fit in a WWE game. He fits more in, like, Mortal Kombat or something better. It's just odd. Not the biggest fan of that pre-order bonus. I'll still get it because it is content, and like I said, at least it's always thought outside the box with it. So then there's Triple H, who everyone knows is going to be in the game. I wonder if every member of the Authority is going to be in the game. We already have Triple H, we already have Kane, and we have Rollins. So we still have left both members of J&J Security and Stephanie. Wonder if all of them are going to be in the game, and if J&J are J&J going to be playable. I personally would hope for J&J to be playable because Jamie Noble's never been in an actual main WWE game. His last game was Raw 2, which was a side game. It wasn't even a part of the yearly franchise. And Mercury hasn't been a playable featured superstar in a game since, I believe, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. So, which was in 2006. So then Tyler Breeze, here's a pleasant surprise. The Prince of Pretty, the master of the beauty shot, which is basically a spin wheel kick, but Tyler Breeze is an interesting thing. I know he's facing Jushin Thunder Liger at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, which I may watch. I don't know. That should be an interesting match, him and Liger. I think their styles mesh, and Liger's always better when you put him with someone his style meshes with. He's always been better with that. So there's also the Ultimate Warrior, who, yeah, no surprise there, but no surprise. Warrior's probably going to be in every WWE game possible for the duration of that Legends contract anyway. And of course there's also Zack Ryder. A guy even more irrelevant than Heath Slater, because the last time Zack Ryder mattered to the WWE was when he was U.S. champion. That was only for like 28 days anyway. And honestly, I didn't miss Zack Ryder in 2K15, and I barely used him for anything in 2K14. The one highlight he had in 2K14 was I made him and Justin Gabriel tag team champions. That's about all I've ever done of Zack Ryder when it comes to actually doing universe pushes with the guy. I didn't miss him, and I'll be back with an updated thoughts on the next ones next Monday. I just wanted to give the confirmed roster right now, and then next Monday I'll just talk about the guys that they confirmed next Monday. So if you like the video, like button's down there, subscribe button's down there, and thank you for watching. Bye.